Hello everyone, I'm back out on the water in my gray crawdad, and I just launched at a new lake. I've never been here before, so I gotta figure it out as I go along. Just missed a fish there. But yeah, it's early October. See some of the leaves turning on the hills and up on the shore there. It's kind of calm in this little pocket that I'm in by the boat ramp, but there's a little bit of a ripple on the right there, and that's a south wind that's going to be picking up. So kind of my plan for today is to fish around the perimeter of the lake, see if I can pick up any active fish shallow. I could see some fish milling around. I was kind of curious what they were, so I started throwing a little Yo-Zuri wake crank at them, and a bluegill decided to take a swipe at it. But that's good information right off the bat. I at least know there's some bluegill in here. Gives me an idea of what kind of baits to throw. Probably bluegill patterns. And yeah, I'm just going to be going around with that little Yo-Zuri crank to start and see if I can pick up any fish at all, just to see what's in here. There's supposed to be bass and pickerel, but I don't know, what kind of size or ratios. It's a good sized lake, and the maximum depth is about 30-35 feet according to the map. But there's good portions of this lake that are shallow. And that's what I really want to key in on. I want to fish the shallower pockets and coves, especially the ones that have some wind coming in. So right now I'm just messing around with the panfish to see if there's any other crappie mixed in, or white perch or yellow perch, or just whatever I can find. I'm really just searching for any information at all right now. And a good way to do that is with a little crank like this. I'm fishing it pretty fast. If I slowed down, that wake crank would probably wake on the surface like it's supposed to. It only weighs 1/4 ounce, so I'm fishing it on a soft spinning rod. It has a moderate action. And what I noticed about that little Yo-Zuri wake crank is that it hunts pretty well, which is rare in any crank. But especially at this price point, and especially at that size. So I will be getting a few more of these, in case they discontinue them or stop making that color. It's kind of a sexy shad color. Looks a little bit like a shad, looks a little bit like a bluegill. Oh, there he is. There he is. What have I got? What have I got? What have I got? Oh, he's got me in something. Hey, that's the right kind and everything. That's the right kind and everything. There we go. Nice. Let's see, where is my hook? Ah, he's not bad. All right. Ah, there they are. That's cool. There he is. What's that? That's something. What's that? What's that? Oh, it's the wrong kind again. Let's get him in a net. Come on now. All right. You are free to go, Mr. Pickerel. Free to go. So I caught a few fish on the crank and then I switched up to a chatterbait.
Oh, there he is.
Chatterbait in the wind is usually a pretty solid way to go. And that fish was right outside some lily pads. The wind's blowing me into the weeds, so I have to hit reverse on the trolling motor. It's okay. All right. So this is just a few casts later, 2 or 3 casts later, and I get lit up again. I thought I was on the beginnings of a pattern here, but this ends up being a different species. I swear these little pickerel follow me around from pond to pond. I don't know how they do it, but I can't seem to get away from them. The big ones are kind of fun. The little ones, not so much. And if you're not careful, they'll cut you off. Even if you are careful, they'll cut you off. So I have to be careful when there's a lot of pickerel around what baits to throw. That's a little better. And usually it's not the most expensive ones in my box. Kind of skinny. So I like fishing chatterbaits in the wind. And I thought I'd try to find a few more weedy coves where I could do just that. Try to pick up a few more fish.
Oh, there he is.
He hit it hard. He's not that big, but he hit it hard. All right. I knew there had to be one in there. Little guy. So I'm running from cove to cove now, trying to get more fish on the chatterbait.
Oh, there's one.
What's that? That one feels a little better. That one feels a little better. A little better, not much. Yeah, getting there, we're getting there. Figuring them out. So just as I was getting that chatterbait bite dialed in a little bit better, the wind up and died. And shortly thereafter, my chatterbait bite died completely. Just nothing. Let him get away. But what I noticed is all these bluegill started milling around the surface of the lake. Maybe they're going after an insect hatch. There were a lot of bugs around. Maybe they're feeding up for winter. But they are definitely schooling up because there are hundreds of them and probably more like thousands. I know it's hard to see on camera, but a lot of them had their backs out of the water. So you can just look around the lake and look for schools of fish with their backs out of the water and motor over to them and take a few casts. And I had schools of bluegill in front of me, behind me, to my left and to the right. They were all around me. What I'm fishing with is not quite ideal. It's the same rod I was throwing that 1/4 ounce Yo-Zuri crank on. I don't have my ultralight rod with me or even my BFS rod, which both of those would have been a better choice. But I'm trying to make this work. I've got a Z-Man micro shad Fryz on there, which is a great bait for panfish. It's a little bit big for this size sunfish, but I'm trying to pick off the bigger ones. I found out later that I was reeling too fast. I should have been slow crawling that bait along. But eventually I will hook one, and it helps that I'm just surrounded by fish. Always a good position to be in. I tried fishing some bass baits underneath the bluegill for a little bit, but I think with no wind it was just a tough kind of a deal. In other lakes I've run into this situation. I've done okay on a drop shot, Neko rig, stuff like that, maybe a tube. But I don't have that stuff with me right now. I was all keyed up for power fishing with a chatterbait in the wind, and I didn't bring a lot of stuff for fishing without any wind. The area that I'm fishing is marked by two marker buoys, two hazard buoys, and it's a boulder field with some weeds in it. And for whatever reason, maybe there's an insect hatch coming up out of that boulder field. But that's where the majority of the fish seem to be. And it's a pretty good sized area. It's probably in total about the size of a football field. So you can imagine how many bluegill could fit in a football field. It's a lot. And that makes me think, if I could find a school like that ice fishing, the jigging here would be pretty good. So I'm thinking that would be a good idea to hit this place again in winter when there's a foot of ice. This would be a great place to take a kid fishing too, with a spin cast rod and some worms. Oh my gosh, you could catch bluegill for hours. The bass fishing here seemed to me to be okay. It's kind of hard to evaluate a lake this big in just an afternoon. So I probably should give it another chance in the spring or early summer. Might do a little bit better. But it seemed like a mix of bass and pickerel. I did find one little smallmouth, but they didn't seem to be too numerous, and the ones I caught weren't super fat. They were healthy, they just weren't, really big fat specimens of fish. So I don't know, I probably won't come back here in the fall. Probably wait till winter and then see how I can do ice fishing and go from there.
Killing me.
But it really is a lovely lake. Lots of coves, lots of islands. I might bring some different rods next time. Maybe some electronics. Try to fish out deeper, see if I can find some bigger fish out deep or smallmouth. I bet in the spring this boulder field is loaded with fish too. You can catch them on a Ned rig then. Maybe a crank bouncing off some of those rocks. Jerkbait early in the season. Yeah, so I feel like this place has potential, and it's such a pretty lake. Even if the fishing's a little slow, the scenery's pretty nice.
There he is.
I finally managed to hook one of these sunfish. He might not be a pure bluegill. Can't really tell. Maybe he is. Yeah. I'll go with bluegill for that one. Alright. I've had a good afternoon on the lake. It's a little bit of a ripple, but my wind has mostly died. And I'm headed back to the ramp. So thanks everyone for watching. I hope you made it this far. I'll list all the gear that I used today in the video description. Depending on which device you're on, you might have to click more or those 3 little dots to get to the video description. But for every video, I list out all the gear I use. So if you see something you like or you want to fish the same lures at a lake local to you, you can do that and hopefully have some good success there too. Okay, thanks again. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya!